to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total protonic reversal.
Protonic reversal.
Protonic reversal with your host, Conan Neutron. Broadcasting from a secret underground lair in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
A gigantic middle finger to everything that is rock about music, rock and roll, and corporate power.
The thing is, though, if you don't laugh, you're going to go on a killing spree with sharpened nails.
Confidence of a hero or a fool. I wasn't exactly certain which.
Could not be more professional.
It means something. It means something. You know, that's my take. What's yours?
Protonic reversal.
That's like a science thing, right?
Indeed it is. It is a science thing. It is a science place. It is a scientific fact that we're all up in your face. It's time once again for the one, the only Protonic reversal. Welcome to it. That's right, episode 434, Palindrome. It's a palindrome episode. I don't know, maybe I should have like a special sound or something I play when that happens. I feel like it's going to be more and more of that happening. But very excited shortly to be talking to an old friend of the show that, as I was just saying before air, if you had put a gun to my head and said, like, has Tim Byron been on Protonic Reversal? I was like, yeah, of course. Of course he has. I remember doing it. And what I was thinking about was the show before Protonic Reversal, You Can't Stop the Signal, which is sort of lost to history to a lot of folks. But I also was thinking about it in terms of his brother, Jeff Byron, being on multiple times, and Dana, again, multiple times. I've had the family, the Byrons have loomed large in the Protonic Reversal landscape, but I have never had Tim Byron on, who is coming on tonight from the Mae Shi, Hallelujah, Hell Yeah, however you say the band name. The opinions may vary, but I'm very excited. Long time coming. I was thinking about it some time back and didn't follow through, which happens when it's a one-man show. You know, what are you going to do? And follow through. There you go. Sometimes you follow through. So before we do any of that, though, welcome to Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. I'm your host, Conan Neutron. A rock and roll lifer. It's been touring and recording for over 25 years, most known for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Use the format of this very long-running podcast to talk about music with musicians whose work I enjoy and who I respect, but who may not be household names. As mentioned, this is episode 434. Now, if this is your first time listening to the show, archives of it are available for free. No ads, no sponsors, no kidding. ProtonicReversal.com. But if you want to help support the show and get episodes sooner, $1 a month at Patreon.com/ProtonicReversal will gladly achieve that goal. And it helps keep the lights on around in this place. And thanks for everyone. If you like what you hear, liking, subscribing on your platform of choice, sharing the show around, all that helps people discover the show. It beats back the almighty algorithmic overlords, and it's just a darn nice thing to do. So Tim Byron. So the Mae Shi is an interesting band that I go way back with. Fully worthy of a podcast discussion or three on their own. But this new band is interesting because it's the same, but different. But also the same. And a continuation and so many things. And like everything with the Mae Shi and the Byrons, there's a lot of nuance to it. And Lord knows I love nuance. So without any further ado, let's bring him on. Tim Byron, welcome to the show, man.
Hello. Hi, Conan.
I really would have just sworn you were on the show. I was like, of course he was.
Well, yeah, it's crazy that, so you've had Jeff, my brother, on. You've had Dana, my sister-in-law, on. Mm-hmm. You've had my sister Katie on your music, or on your
Move Next
movie
Extravaganza.
podcast.
Yep.
And so, yeah,
I would feel dissed. Sorry,
you're like a shareholder in the sort of Byron family. Thanks for having me
Byron
on.
Co. Yeah, exactly. It certainly wasn't a an intentional exclusion. Like I said, I would have sworn that you were. But also, it's good to have you on now, though, because now it's very newsworthy. It's relevant. There's new things happening.
Yeah, when did you start the podcast?
2014.
Okay. So
April 2014. April 15th,
I didn't have anything going on music related for, the first 9 years of your podcast. So
that's right, because
this is the perfect time.
That's interesting. Yeah, because as much as the Mae Shi was incredibly active for a long period of time, but you guys had such a thing that, and I feel like now it's maybe less crazy, the idea of there being like, oh no, it's not that the band has this person quit. They're not playing in a live band anymore. There's other people that are right around playing the songs. And it was sort of like it struck me at the time, like, oh, that's kind of cool. You don't hear that much of it these days, but without social media, as we know it now, it was something that just added to the just sort of impish confusion of all things Mae Shi sometimes, not in a bad way, but just in a way that was kind of interesting and unique. And again, that's coming from someone I was in pretty much on the ground floor. I still have the CDR of To Hit Armor Class 0. Actually, I think about 5 feet that way.
Cool.
Really early on, so a lot of those early shows. Let's just start from the beginning. So let's just start with how the Mae Shi came together.
Okay, how the Mae Shi came together. Okay, so I was living in LA, and I had graduated college, had sort of a boring office job, and I was going to shows at the Smell in downtown LA, just going with my friend Steve Kim, later of Silver Daggers. But at the time we were just two boring, office schlubs going there in the evening. Right. And seeing all kinds of really cool shows. The shows at the Smell sort of just were kind of probably maybe a little more experimental than they are now. You could see Nels Cline do 4 hours of different, mini bands that he was in, or, Carla Bosilich was doing a lot of stuff.
I mean, they let Replicator in, so experimental was,
Well, when did you first play at the Smell?
2001, 2002, something along those lines.
Yeah, so I guess that's right around the time. But I remember we were going to go see, I think, Pink and Brown, right? Mm-hmm. And I was talking to him, and I was like, who else is playing? And he's like, oh, there's this band XBXRX. He's like, I don't know if I can handle them. And I was like, what? What is it about that band? And he's like, they're really confrontational. And I was like, wait, so they punch you? And he's like, no, it's worse. They hug you. And I was like, okay, I got to check this out.
Fantastic.
And so I went down, and it was, so it was Vice Cooler and Steve, and they were all 15 years old, or 15 to 23 or whatever. They, this crazy car. They're dressed in marching band uniforms. And it was just it was totally blurring of the audience and the performer. It was totally in your face. And I was just I gotta be part of this. I have to start a band. And so I just started working on that. And then I bumped into Ezra, who I've known since, I was 18 or something, and he was 14 or 15, because he was Jeff's best friend at the time. Yeah. And bumped into him at a Cat Power show. And I was like, hey, I think you'd be a good singer. And he's like, I'll give it a shot. He had just dropped out of college and was back. And so we started messing around. And then Jeff came back from, graduated from college and moved to LA, and he joined the band. And then we found Brad, our sort of, it was just this great group of people who were all had really cool musical ideas, and sort of a four-headed beast, in terms of how we wrote songs and what we wanted to do. So I guess it started because all I wanted to do is open up for Pink and Brown, or Deerhoof
sure.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And as we sort of went, we were oh, well, let's also put out records, or let's do this, let's do that, and it kind of got bigger and bigger.
And so, yeah, and it's very apparent too that everybody involved in the band, kind of was very into it and very vibrant, kind of crackling with energy and excitement about, let's do some cool stuff. Everybody had like a real enthusiasm. I mean, sometimes you see bands where it's like there's one person that's like, wow, that person's a dynamo, and the other people are like, yes, I like to play and I am here. And that's as far as it goes, which is fine. I'm not saying that that's like bad or anything, but sometimes it always is interesting when it's like, oh, this is a band where everyone's like really just thinking about this and like fully engage in it, and especially with younger folks, I've noticed, of course.
It was mostly just like all this like anxious, nervous energy. It wasn't like, it was just like, what do we do? What do we do? What do you do? Like, it's just like free, just kind
That's
of.
why I said crackling. It's almost like it's like there's like electricity going or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. We all made each other like nervous in a specific way, and we all kind of heightened each other's nervousness in a way that was, I guess, kind of, I don't know, interesting to watch.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how we got started. Well, and then we were a band for a long time, and we, Ezra quit. We had another drummer, Corey, join. We had two drummers. Our original singer quit.
Yeah, and that was, so you put out Terror Bird. Well, you did the EP before that, and then the Terror Bird came out, which was still that was still all the original, right? Wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
I'm doubting
the
myself.
first like three records were all the sort of original Ezra, Brad, Jeff, and Tim. The Terror Bird and Theat Armor Class Zero and Heartbeeps and Do Not Ignore the Potential. So the first like four things we recorded.
Right. And so sort of like, okay, this is a, very creative, inventive, kind of nervy band that, writes these kind of really manic, crazy, but hooky, poppy songs, but using the utility and language and lexicon of more noisy music to do so is how I would characterize.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think like we wanted to fit in a way. Like I think for some people, like noisy and crazy came very easy because like Ezra kind of operates outside. He's not particularly interested in pop music as like, or rock music as you or I know it. He sort of operates above all of that.
Well, look at who his dad was. I mean, like, look at how he, he's going to come at it from a different perspective.
His dad, it was, he invented the synthesizer, or was one of the people who invented the synthesizer, but decided that he wanted to do it a different way. He didn't want to just make an electric keyboard. He wanted to make this brand new instrument with a brand new interface. And Ezra's very different than his dad, but he does have, he's almost like allergic to commerce. Like he's allergic to like monetizing and like,
well, and that's kind of more
bills.
what I meant of just coming up with that kind of background, right? Yeah. Coming into that to start with, it's going to open up different ideas maybe about what creativity could or should be, right? And that's kind of more, I mean, not that he was, he's going to learn the family trade of being a weirdo. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. It's,
no, he's a different kind of weirdo, but
right.
But he does.
He's his own weirdo,
yeah,
in a good way. So am I.
But yeah, I mean, like, I guess we had kind of bought into the sort of like, oh, let's be like the noisy, Beatles. Let's like market ourselves like a boy band where there's like Tim, Jeff, Ezra, Brad, and then Ezra quit, and we're like, oh, we need to come up with a new model. And I had recently watched the Beach Boys and American Family. It was like the miniseries. It was on ABC.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a network thing, right?
Yeah. It's like a sweet thing. It was like 5 hours long or whatever. But just like learning, like, oh, like you kind of have this idea that a band is like, four people, the monkeys, right?
Yeah, exactly, the monkeys. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were the monkeys. In the
same house.
We were the noise monkeys, right? And then it's like, oh, we could be this completely different kind of band where there's like, people who stay home, people who, are working in the studio, people who are like, the Beach Boys had, 3 brothers, a cousin, a
Yeah,
dad,
right.
sort of.
Talk
you
about being
know?
a family affair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. And so then we ended up having two brothers, two cousins. Like
Yeah.
Brad ended up stopped touring, and he would just like play shows in LA or just record music. So I guess we became the Noise Beach Boys instead of the Noise Monkeys.
Well, and at least there was a model for that. To a
I'm
certain
always
degree,
looking.
right?
I'm always looking for models. Like
Yeah.
when Ezra quit, it's like, oh man, like what band has survived, losing their singer? And then it's like, oh wait, there's Van Halen.
AC/DC.
Yeah, there's AC/DC. Okay, we're okay. We can make this work because someone else has done it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we kind of kept evolving, and at the end of the whole run, it was John Gray, Bill Gray, and Jacob Cooper like playing these gigantic venues, and it's pretty cool that it kind of went from like every cell was replaced, right? Like there was a complete different group.
It's a ship of
yeah.
Theseus kind of situation.
Yeah, totally.
And
So-
that. Yeah, but then the voice of the band I feel like was still pretty constant in how you interacted with the world, which is to say that when you had songs about certain things, that you would use it within the framework of things that interested you. Like it wouldn't necessarily be just, hey, this is like a love song, or this is like an anti-war song. It's like, well, what would be a way to make this a little more interesting or like weird or unique?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I heard a podcast where Deerhoof was on, and like Greg was talking about how like the architecture for the band was basically all set by Rob Fisk, who was only in the band for like 2 months or whatever. But he's like, it's animals taking over. It's animals like taking over the forest and like taking back from society. And
I think I saw every one of those Rob Fisk Deerhoof shows that was in the Bay Area too, by the way, which is funny because it's like, did they play that much? I don't know. It seems like I always saw them, but yeah, that they had that thing early on. Right?
Yeah, they had that thing early on, and then he left, and they're like the yogurt. They kept making the sourdough bread or whatever, like the same. They kept the culture alive, and I think like it was this. We weren't interested in writing love songs or like we weren't, or like political songs in like your sort of standard
Fortunate Son style, like just on the nose.
Yeah, I think we were just trying to do something a little, kind of stranger and more sort of thought-provoking, and yeah, I don't know. It was a super fun band, and those are all like my guys. Like they were all at my wedding, and they're all like, huge part of my life. So.
Sure. But it was interesting because they're being like, the creative circuit of the band and how that's operating, and then there being like a live band that at some point like featured no original members, right? And that's and which is kind of fascinating in a way as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point those guys would have started, right? I mean, they did start writing songs.
They started their own I forget what was it called? They started their
Signals.
own thing. Signals, that's right. So it's a real easy name to remember, and I can't remember it. But.
So, I mean, I guess I'm sort of glossing over the fact that when they did that, I was very pissed off about it when they kind of kept going as the Mae Shi, like with no original members. I did not think it was cool at first. But like now that I have like, 15 years of distance from it, like I realize like how much they did for the band and how like I quit the band right before Hell Yeah came out, our final
which is the
record.
one that really I remember there was that Pitchfork review that like was a big deal back then. That was huge.
Totally. And like NME and so all of a sudden they were playing there. I mean, they went to like South by Southwest and did like 18 shows or 21 shows in a week or something. Like, they like worked so hard. And I remember hanging out with them. It was very like, I guess all bands do this now, but in like 2009, I remember hanging out with them and like after a show in the morning, they're like, oh, it's our time to like get on the internet and like respond, like there, whatever the proto social network was at the time. It's like, let's get on and like interact with people for 1
MySpace
hour.
or whatever.
It was,
answer
it wasn't
messages
even, it was
and
like
things.
Flyver or something. It was some weird one.
Yeah, friends.
But like, you know, they really like put the time in and like did all that stuff. So,
which
so,
is
yeah.
work.
It's a huge amount of work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I keep tabs on you. I notice like when you go on tour, you've got like some sort of post, like on the road post, like pretty much every day, right?
Yeah, here we are. We're at this weird looking roadside attraction,
and that's like part of the job, right? That's like what you do.
Because if you don't do it, people won't even know it's happening.
Uh-huh.
And it's interesting what does and doesn't work. And so for me, I had to find ways for it to be enjoyable or interesting to me, rather than just like, oh, this is what everyone else is doing. It's like, well, I'm more interested in what I'm doing, and I want to share it in a cool way. And I mean, this so helps that I'm like really into like roadside attraction culture and just like, you know, the absurdity of the American existence. And so I'm able to do that in a way that, you know, appears to work good. But when I don't do it, it's noticeable, right? And so it's like one of those things like now, yeah, that's a requirement. You have to be like more or less an influencer almost on some macrocosmic level. And there's
It's
not
so
an
weird.
option not to, because people
It's so weird.
They will never know about your show, your record. It'll never happen. And it's weird what connects with people. And sometimes it's the most inane thing. So like just a, hey y'all, you know, at the gas station is going to have like as much reach as like, you know, the release of a record or something.
Yeah, it's super weird how we're all like at the whim of these algorithms, right? That like Bill Gray from the Mae Shi's like in all these other bands, and I notice whenever he posts on social media, the first picture is just like him smiling or him with a friend or whatever. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, that's to trick the algorithm.
It's to
like,
trick it into showing
it's
that
like,
there's a show
yeah,
flyer.
if it's just a show flyer, you know, Instagram's like, no.
They'll never see
you're not
it.
getting in there. You pay me if you want people to see this. But if you put the first image as like, you know, just hanging out,
Yeah,
just
here we are,
smiling,
just playing
then all of a
cards or
sudden
something. Yeah, you know,
it serves it to all the friends that, you know, it's just so crazy.
Yes. No, and it's even better if it's like a funny meme or something, you know, even better. But yeah, you're right. It has to almost be. It's like when you give like a pet a pill and you have to put it in like a slice of cheese or something to get them to swallow it.
Totally.
But again, none of that stuff existed at this time. But you were saying those guys were, you know, they were doing the work, the work that was like the internet side of it, the work that isn't the playing shows.
Yeah, they were
which
like
is
proto.
consistent.
They're the ones that set up. You know, we had a MySpace page, of course, but they're like, oh, let's get on this Facebook thing. Let's get on this Twitter thing. Let's like, you know, let's do this. Let's do that. So yeah, I think like
I do remember being when Jeff stopped playing with him. I was like, wait a second. So it's the Mae Shi, but it's no people that I know.
Well,
I was like, that's so strange.
It is so strange. But like the funny thing is, I'll be talking ever since I started up this new band, and it's like kind of connected. People will be like, "Oh, I saw you at like, you know, Primavera Fest in 2009. You guys were so awesome."
Yeah,
and it's like, well, first of all, that wasn't me,
right.
But it's like that, like for a lot of people, that was like the best version of the band. You know, that's the crazy thing. It's like
because that's the records that have the material that they connected with. Those are the experiences they had.
I mean, it was probably the best live band, right? And just in terms of playing instruments and stuff like that.
Well, and also there's the thing of you're not George, Paul, John, and Ringo, right? Nobody's like the
thank
famous
God,
face.
right?
Yeah,
thank God. Like, if we were, it'd be much harder. Yeah, it's like people don't care. Like,
people care, but they don't like. And it used to make me mad, and now I'm like, you know what? There's some freedom in that too.
Yeah,
of just being like, all right, you know, maybe you won't even notice it's like different people on stage. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, that's fine. It happens to me all the time. And people would be like, was that? I was like, no, it was somebody else last time. Oh, okay, cool. In my band, and honestly, that's a wild outlier. 1 out of 50 people. Which isn't to denigrate like anybody's playing ability or stage presence or anything. It's just people in general don't pay that close attention.
Yeah.
But they will pay attention is how something makes them feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's the Mae Shi story.
Right. So then it stops. The Mae Shi stops.
The Mae Shi stops in like 2009. We do
yeah.
We do a few like reunions. We did one in 2012.
And,
we did
one in SF too, right? If I remember right.
We only did them in LA. We did one at Perispace, and we did one at the Smell.
There was two. There was a Smell in someplace else, right? I didn't go.
Yeah,
but
it was Kyle Mapson's birthday party in 2012 at Perispace. But like
I remember Shannon Core was going to go. I was like, "You want to ride with me?" And I was like, "Oh, I had a thing." I was like, "I can't go. I'm not going to do that."
Yeah,
but I wanted to. I was like, "I would if I did."
Were you in LA?
No. That's the thing is he was going to drive down from Oakland to LA for it. And like I don't even remember what I had going on. But well, I mean Shannon, it's whatever. I mean that's a dude that just makes money photographing stuff now. Not bands, but like stuff. And
he's an awesome photographer. Is he still in Florida?
Yeah. But he's like, he's good for him. I mean, that's how many people don't ever get to do that with their art, right? So lovely.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
But anyway, that's why I didn't go to the show you mentioned. What a great story
also
of me not going
miles.
To a show. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was down the street.
You don't have to have an excuse to not go to a show that's 400 miles away.
It's not like the time that I didn't go see No Means No at the Starry Plow when I lived 3 blocks from the Starry Plow. But I did go see them like 3 other times, so whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, they're awesome. One of my favorites. So like I like walked away from music altogether.
Yeah.
I went off. I got a degree. I became a lawyer. I started a family.
Well, I don't know how much you want to talk about it. I think it's so cool what you and your wife had of just kind of taking turns. Like doing stuff. Like again, like hey, I'm gonna go to law school here. Okay, I'm gonna go do dual-politics over here, and like leaving room for each other to do these things while still being able to have a family that is got dedicated people doing the work that is required to keep that together.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about it like that, but you're totally right. We've sort of taken turns. I've been married since like 2007, and I went off to law school and she paid the bills, and then I went to work for a law firm, and she had kids, and then she got into politics and was the mayor of our, small Bay Area city.
Mayor of Pixar Town, yeah.
Mayor of Emeryville for, 2 years. But I guess I got in 2022, I was just ready to get back in, I was ready to to make music again. And it's something that the rest of the band has talked about. John Gray, the second singer, ever since we broke up, he's basically there's gonna be another Mae Shi record. He's he's all into astrology, and he's it's gonna happen in December of 2012. That's when it's gonna happen. It didn't happen. It took a lot longer, but it was it's always something that's percolated around. And so I was okay,
the story isn't done. There's more to be explored here.
Yeah, we pivoted pretty hard on that on our last record. Hell yeah, it was we kind of figured out how to make a record that had a beginning and a middle and an end, and kind of told a story. And I think we took a big leap forward in terms of songwriting.
The songwriting definitely became more. A lot more to grab onto, and a lot less sort of daunting. Okay, this turns a left turn 45 degrees here for some reason. That that's cool if you're going to try to please a Conan Neutron, but if you're trying to please someone that's just likes good songs or something, then, it's going to be a little harder to rock.
It was mostly us trying to please ourselves, right? Because we were in this we started the band to play weirdo shows at the Smell with Rubber O Cement or whoever. Mm-hmm. But we'd go on tour and we'd listen to Queen and Andrew VK and there was an aspect like I tell you all the time how much I love Sloan. Like they're like one of my favorite bands. And so like when Ezra quit, it was like, maybe we can like make something that's like a little closer to what's like in our heart or whatever. And
what you're actually listening to and interacting with and engaging with rather than.
Because I think like in the early aughts, like everyone was trying to be like Suicide or the Screamers or James Chance or whatever, and it was cool. It was super cool, and that music is like super cool. It's like cool as in really cool, like cool. But it was like, let's just be less cool, let's just like do, and it turned out kind of cool too, I guess. But it was like, I think it was a little more honest or a little more like, ourselves.
Well, it's not that it comes out being like super normie necessarily either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the kind of thing where, Gibby Haynes is a huge ABBA fan, right? So, I mean, and that makes sense if you really stop and think about it. It's like, oh no, that's just, filter through this very bizarre melange where it's like it's gonna sound how it's gonna sound. And there definitely was a turn for the catchier, I guess I would say, which isn't to say that the previous stuff wasn't. But I remember talking to Jeff. I remember what song it was. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was just ripping off Aerosmith on that." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess so." But it doesn't sound anything like Aerosmith, but
so that this was like a common way we would write songs. Is we get into the practice space, and I'd be like, "Jeff, opening riff from "Love Is an Elevator" by Aerosmith," and like from memory because he hasn't heard the song in 20 years.
Right, so it's gonna be your like incorrect recollection.
Yeah, so it goes banana. I'm like, okay, good. Like, and that becomes like Tacoma the Dolphin is AWOL, same thing with like Toys in the Attic. I guess there's a lot of Aerosmith on the record, but like
because those 70s Aerosmith records are just riff factories, man.
Or like Unskinny Bop by Poison. That's another one where I was like, play that riff because we were at the time. We had Poison shirts or whatever, or we wanted them at least when we were like 11 and 8 or whatever. And so like pulling from all those sort of aspects of the music that we love and.
But then, it being through this sort of like funhouse mirror of filtration to be whatever it's going to be. And I do remember when that record came out, and I was like, oh wow, this is like their big pop record, like in a way, without it being like, again, it didn't sound like ABBA necessarily, but it was like, oh, this is like impressive. Like there's nothing daunting on it. And it was interesting, and I've now had this happen a couple times with bands I know, to like see people really connect with it and like really engage with it, like not in a way of like music nerds, but like, oh no, like normal people, relatively speaking, where it's like, that's great. Like, and I always say whenever that happens, that's like a win for everybody. Like if an Idols gets big, well, it doesn't matter if you like Idols or not. That's good for anybody that's making like weird, obtuse music.
Totally.
You're bringing in people that otherwise wouldn't be paying attention. You're going to be mad about that? Like, come on. What are you doing here? And that goes back to gatekeeping and all that. But record came out. It was awesome. That was back when Pitchfork had some sway. They gave it a decent enough rating. I never held much stock in what that thing had to say, but a lot of other people did, and so people checked it out. And again, if there's something, NME, all that stuff, if it gets people in the door, it gets people in the door. So the Mae Shi like levels up in a way of people paying attention. And again, people having these experiences that are wonderful for them. Because again, that's also your approach of just kind of like being party, but not like hedonism. But celebration is how I would put it as an ethos.
Yeah, I mean, so like not to get to like too hoity-toity, but like the music when we were first writing songs, it was like right after 9/11, right? And everyone was talking about like militant Islam and like look at this stuff in the Quran that's like these people need to, like, this is a, terrible religion and everything. And I just feel like Ezra and we were like, well, let's look in the Bible. Let's see what's in the Bible. Right. And like finding all this
crazy stuff in there.
Yeah, like finding all this crazy stuff in the Bible.
Yeah.
And being like, there we go. Like if we're gonna be like a this, like, we'll write about metal stuff, but it'll just like be stuff from the Bible, right? Just like, and so a lot of those hedonism songs were like, okay, we're in Gomorrah, we're in Sodom, right. Like, because we're from LA, it's like that's kind of, so like seeing it from the inside, like if you were in one of those, like those cities that God completely smites down, but you're like on the inside and you're having a good time and you're partying, so yeah, I guess that's kind of, so I mean, we released that record, people liked it, we were really proud of it, and it was like a full record with like cool cover art and like
it's
cool packaging, gatefold sleeve record. It was a fucking record, it was awesome.
Yeah. And
then we broke up, and so 15 years later, it's like I think we can do this again, like I think we can, like, and it was like I flew down to LA and I like met up with all the different members of the band that had like been part of the songwriting aspect of it, and I was like, I want to do another record. And
did you do this as a group, or was it just individually going? Okay, that's interesting.
It was because you've seen the movie. You got it when you get the band back together. You got to go one after another. If you go all at the same time, they'll just tune you out.
Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury style going around at the end credits. Yeah,
totally. Ocean's 11.
Right,
I'm putting
the team together. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
So yeah, no, it was very much like, it's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, eat some Korean food with Brad, see, okay, I got him kind of, I think the response was basically like, this sounds cool, but I'm really busy, and like my life has changed a lot, and like, good luck, but I don't know how much time I'm gonna have, because I think a lot of the band members, we had stayed close, but everyone's relationship with music had changed a lot. Like I walked away from it completely. Like it's like I kind of stopped listening to new bands. I like did not play guitar or anything. But like Jeff, it is a
Turbo Lightning, Batwings, Catwings, Wavebreaker. I mean, these are all great bands.
Well, not only that, but like Jeff and Brad both like make their living making music, right?
With composition and and which is a whole other tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
So to speak.
And so
Brad's
Brad's
different
like,
from a band.
Brad's like, this isn't really fun for me anymore. Like, this is a job. Like, I don't, it kind of you're stressing me out by like, it's like, I want to support you, but this is really stressful. And
how funny. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And I talked to Ezra, and he's like, yeah, I mean, he's like, I'm very curious about this, but like, this is not what I'm into, like
it's not where his head's at necessarily.
Yeah, Ezra's told me, he's like, I just want to play a show to like 5 people and just have that experience. Like it doesn't need to be recorded. Like I don't need an audience. He just likes, playing viola through, a bunch of effects and just sending it out into the world and just having that experience. Which is very different. Like I like, I think you do too. Like I like the package, right? Like I like.
Oh hell yeah!
I like how records look and like how they, feel, and this. I like song titles and like
putting the sequencing together.
Yeah. When you were like a little, baby Neutron. Like what were the records that were like in front of you that like made you fall in love with the album?
So there's a lot of things with my family that was not ideal, but my mom and dad were rockers and had a great record collection. So I was growing up with, first 5 Black Sabbath records, like AC/DC, Neil Young, Led Zeppelin, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and looking at the album covers, and usually a large portion of which may or may not have been used to separate seeds from the weed. And I'm not even kidding. Statute of limitations is long since passed, and it's been very legal in California for forever. But yeah, so I had the experience of like, this is what a band does. A band makes a record. It looks like this.
There's like liner notes that you sit and read.
You can,
maybe there's lyrics.
Hey, what's he say? What's the singer Van Halen saying here? Oh, okay, cool. I'll just look in this piece of paper. Yeah. And then also having the experience of music as a communal experience, like, my dad putting out like Billy Idol or Van Halen or something, and like, doing like karate kicks in the living room and stuff, and just like, this is fun, and seeing that experience not just as a solo listening experience, but as a community experience, right? Like being something that like you do together.
Yeah.
And the record being something that is part of that, and having that tactile experience of, we are going to put on Back in Black. We are going to put on this, and then we're going to like listen to it, and we're going to look at the pictures that are on the record. And so even when some of them were scary, it's like, oh, that's scary looking. What is that going to sound like? And so that's, I grew up that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was poisoned from the beginning. There was never any hope.
Yeah, very similar for me. And like, I was always kind of drawn. We were talking yesterday, and you said something like, Mae Shi's always had like lore. And I think I was always drawn to like the albums that had like lore to them, right? Like, the Led Zeppelin 4 with like it's like symbols. Like,
what does that mean? What is that?
Or like
Pink Floyd, or oh wow.
Yeah, my dad was really into prog, so there was like, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and like, what's it called? Targus, like the one with
the one with the armadillo tank?
Yes. That's
you know what? I have to message John Fine about it, because I couldn't think of the band's name. I was describing the album cover to him, and he was like, "That sounds amazing." It was like, "Yeah, I can't remember the band's name though." A mouse actually used to have that record, and I was like, "Oh my god, can I see it?" And
it was in our house, like that was like on constant, like it was on all the, but just like,
and it was just as amazing as I remembered it. When I looked at it, I'm like, that's still incredible. Like, oh my god, somebody was like, "Yep, print it."
Yeah. Yeah, and so like stuff like that, or like, listening to like even if it's like American Pie, like my dad, like listening to that song and having my dad like do the commentary of like, oh, now he's talking about Bob Dylan, now he's talking about this person, and just like, I've always loved, the rock and roll product, and so like, long story short, like, the response was basically like, this sounds cool, but I don't have very much time. So I kind of like took the lead on it, and put together this gigantic Google Doc with like, here's what I think the record should be. I got really into the idea of like following like the hero's journey as like set forth by like, Joseph Campbell, like, there's like this monomyth thing, like the 13 steps that, it's different number of steps depending on.
Can I tell you, we're on the movie show, we're doing Star Wars this month, and we just did A New Hope, and it was like, oh, this is like literally Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. Like,
totally.
Like step by step.
Totally.
And it's amazing. It's like maybe one of the best examples in like what it used to be left of a monoculture of that. But it's like, no, this is, if you know what that is, like that's everything is like check, every single step of it,
Yeah, you've got like the normal world, and then you've got refusal of the call, and you've got crossing the threshold into the spirit world, and the battle with the devil, and the spiritual death, and the rebirth, and the returning home, and all that stuff. And so, like, I got really into the idea of like this would be a really good tool for making a record, because
as a framework,
like, you don't need to tell one story, but if you have a song that hits all those beats, even if they're completely unrelated, like it'll feel like an album, right? Like if you got a song that's, a refusal of the call song, and then you've got, and so I got really into this idea of like kind of making something that kind of had this structure, but, would kind of work at a few different levels. Like I wanted it to kind of be like, that that piece that Salvador Dali did. It's called Lincoln in Dali Vision. It's like when you step away, it looks like Abraham Lincoln's face, and when you get closer, it's like a naked woman, and like
right, but it becomes a different thing that when you are from a different perspective. Yeah. That's right. I forgot what the name of that piece was, but
it's called Lincoln in Dali Vision.
Okay, cool.
But it was like, let's try to do that with music. And so I've just like started writing all these songs, and I didn't know what I was doing at all. Like the one person who was kind of on for the ride was my brother, was Jeff.
Of course. Yeah.
And he was like, he basically like taught me how to, he's like, go get Logic Pro. It costs $200. Here's the plugins you might want to get. Like, here, go to this YouTube channel and it'll teach you how to use it. He basically like, cause all of my like knowledge was like, 15 years out of date.
Right. And the technology has come along so far.
It's so amazing.
I mean, even just since you and I talked last, like how we did, the one thing, I do have the same mixer, but everything else is different. And that's just because because I'm, I come from a working poor mentality. Something has to literally stop working before I get rid of it.
Yeah.
But like what we're talking on right now, this did not exist when I started this show.
Totally.
Like it was like the idea of being able to like have a real time interactive video element as well as like recording.
It's crazy.
Professional grade
it's like
audio.
We're on CNN or something with these little like captions and everything. It's
Chirons,
really cool.
There's freaking branding. Yeah, I mean, like it's wild, and people just kind of take it for granted now. It's like none of this stuff existed when I started this show, and that's how far technology has come. So I'm sure recording music. It's like, well, you could still record stuff on a 4-track if you wanted to, but it's like no, there's all these tools now that. DAWs and whatnot, and things you can do that arguably there are some things you can't do. Like if you want a traditional rock drum sound, you need drums recorded in a good room. But you can fake that too if you really want to.
Yeah. I mean, it was really kind of liberating to see like how easy some of the stuff that used to be really hard is, and it kind of just allowed me to like crank out these demos of songs really fast, and I'd like share them with the group and get a little feedback and keep going with them. I'm at basically at like a few months in, it was basically Jeff and me with like us like being really like when we wanted someone else to be involved, we'd pick and choose when to like, it's like, I don't want to like, I got like, maybe I have like one day with Brad. So what do we want Brad to do?
You want to pick what fits for the player.
Yeah.
And what would fit their interests. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, Brad,
I get it.
We want you to sing this first song. Like, he's like, okay, I'll do that, and then, Ezra, like, here are some songs. What do you want to sing? Oh, I'll sing that one. I'll sing this one. And then we'd meet up and record that. Corey, drummer number 2, came up to play some drums and some songs. But it was written in a fundamentally different way than the old Mae Shi stuff, which was like Mae Shi was like us all like finishing each other's musical sentences. It was like
sure,
very sort of collaborative, very sort of yes and. There's all kinds of songs where like 3 people wrote the lyrics, like, sitting around and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a big part of our song. It was really hard to do. Like, it's harder when you're like trying to like write stuff in a practice space or whatever, rather than, just learn a demo,
yeah. And engages the creative systems differently as well.
Yeah. But so this new one was kind of more like a conveyor belt. It's like an assembly line, right? Where I'm like putting together these very sort of prehistoric demos, and I'm passing them on to Jeff, and he's like fleshing them out. And then we're grabbing Ezra, and he's singing, or he's playing, viola on them or whatever. And, Jeff's adding guitar and, adding
all the crazy extra.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that? So Turbo Lightning was on the Protons and Electrons series, the split single series they did forever ago, and they were on the other side, and that was one of the ones where like we had a collab on there. So Dana does backup vocals, second song I think she did that on, and Jeff like did a bunch of extra stuff, and he basically wrote a Queen record that he sent. Like he had so much. There was like string sections, there was synths, mellotron, and almost none of it ended up in the final mix.
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, I'd almost want to like release a mix that's like just take out the guitars and just have this. Like it's got, because it was totally badass. But that was when I first realized like, oh, you've gotten amazingly good at this composition. And also when you're making music for commercial purposes, then the client's going to be like, I don't like I want more strings, or I don't want strings, or more synth, or less synth, or bring some horns in there, like whatever, just like really arbitrary chaos mode decisions that you're going to over deliver. It makes sense. So it's interesting. And only reason I bring that up is because it's interesting to see him apply that to you guys' band and like have that in the toolbox, right? Of just like, oh no, this is like, he can do more is more very easily, which isn't necessarily what's called for, but it's like that's another thing of coming at this being like different people than like when the band first started.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, honestly, like I'm probably more guilty of doing more is more on this record than Jeff is. Like he added like a ton of keyboards to like Flexitagger, the second song on the record, and so like you hear all those like keyboards going crazy. Those are all him, but I like a lot of the overboardness is like I'm guilty of.
Sure. Well, I'm not trying to say Jeff was going overboard. I was more just talking about the fact that it's interesting having you guys reconvene.
Yeah.
And like, you're in a way, your musical output was sort of frozen in ambers, like suspended animation for a while, right?
Yeah.
But then you get to come in with all of like, this new technology available, new collaborative methods that we couldn't even dreamed of. Hey, we're gonna throw this in like a Dropbox or or equivalent or whatever it is, and like send this over. Hey, check out this demo. Amazing, great. So then the process, you're grinding away mostly, you guys, and then you're kind of figuring out who would be the best collaborator, or who maybe would be suited to something, but who might be interested in doing something cool with it best along those lines.
Yeah, a lot of like, please, like,
will you do something cool with this? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it easy, But yeah, I think like at the end of the day, we had a record, and the idea was it was going to be like the next Mae Shi record. Like that was the original idea.
Yeah, and that's awesome, but that's crazy because I didn't even realize that was like something on the table. I just thought you had a new band. Oh, he's got a new band. Great. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, that's good in a way, because like on Twitter and stuff, we were like, yeah, we're working on a new record. Like there's a handful, like, people. We had sort of put out the word that we were working on a new record.
Right. Yeah.
But like, yeah, we finished it. It was challenging, and it was. But yeah, at the end of the day, it didn't feel right to me to call it a Mae Shi record, and Brad's like, hey, this kind of sounds more like a Tim record than a Mae Shi record, and he's like, maybe you should pick a different name for it, and we, I got a lot of people, a lot of former Mae Shi I like that.
Gets a green Topo Chico, so it's
like
a green screen.
That's cool.
Sorry, audio listeners, you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's a green screen joke. Yeah.
I got a lot of the old Shi to be part of it, but I couldn't get John Gray involved, who's our second singer, and I didn't want to do it as a Mae Shi record without him. And it was also like, why
was he just not interested, or was that
I think the whole so we had a really sort of rough breakup in 2009, the band.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of hurt feelings, and then we all made up in the early aughts, and like for the most part. But I think the process of like going back and being like, let's make a new Mae Shi record, like opened up a lot of those old wounds.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny because like I left in 2007, and so I was only there for like the good times, right? Like I'm like, for me it's like, hey, let's it's like a high school reunion or something, like let's go back. And I think for a lot of people it's like it wasn't the best times, it was like there's all this really challenging, hard stuff that happened. And but like for me it was like summer camp. Being in a band was just this like awesome, great experience. I got to see the world, got to go to Europe and all that stuff. And so I think like the idea of like, let's put out a new record and it'll be a new Mae Shi record, like stressed people out and like opened old wounds and everything. And so and then at the end of the whole process, like my brother and I like were not getting along either. Like we were getting into disagreements about the kind of stuff that only like musicians get into disagreements about.
Sure.
Like what should be the B-side to this single, like
right.
And it's like but it's like it's the kind of thing that feels very serious when it's happening.
No,
and because it was just him and me, there was like no way to break a tie or anything. And and we're brothers, and we have like just all kinds of
a lifetime of
a lifetime of button pushing and like
exactly.
All that stuff. And so by the end of the project, it was like it was done. We finished in like January of 2024, but it just sat around because it was like we couldn't even come up with an agreement on like how to put it out. And I feel like there was a lot of like the closer we got to putting it out, the more people's anxieties started to raise. It was like it was just a tough thing to revisit. So it sat around for a while, and I kind of realized during that time, like I gotta be in a band. I've only been in bands with Jeff, my brother, my entire life.
That's
like,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like
going
way back to like college. What's that?
It's like Red Cross or something, right?
I mean, it's like Red Cross. It's like Sparks. It's like whatever, It's but like and there's like it's like. I was like, could I ever be in a band without my brother? Like it was a very sort of foreign concept, but I was like, I think I need to like be in a band without my brother. And I started working on a bunch of new songs. And then this drummer, Dan Chow, reached out to me and he said, hey, I have a friend named Conan Neutron. And he says, you might be interested in like, playing some music. And so I was like, oh my God, like a drummer reaching, like usually you have to reach out to the drummers, right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I've got a practice space and a kit and everything. Yeah. It's like, oh, like, are you like,
marry me? Yeah.
You also have a huge criminal record, or
right. Like, yeah, it's just a good dude and a good player.
Just a good dude, yeah. And so he met up, and I was like, I got this record that's like finished that I don't know what it. And he's like, oh, this record's awesome. He's like. This is awesome. I'd love to play these songs. And he just started analyzing them. He put together this like Google sheet that's like if we're gonna play these songs live, here's what we need. We need a bassist, we need a second guitarist, we need a keyboardist. And he's like, I'll put together a band. And I was like, okay. Like, and so he found this guy James, who's this awesome bass player, was in this band called the Albert Square. He found this guitarist, Bert, who's been in just a ton of bands. I'm surprised, like, you and Bert don't know each other because you're both, like, noise rock, like,
it veterans. Turns out it was like, oh, so-and-so? Oh, yeah, I know them too. Okay. We did a lot of that.
You did a lot of that?
But neither one of us knew, which is, I was like, wow, that is kind of weird.
It is weird because,
I've had that happen before where it's just like, you just circle around other people and you don't even realize it, and you're like in the same shows and the same places, and I don't know, it just happens sometimes. But yeah, I immediately thought he was awesome. I was like, oh, this guy's great.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden we had this band that could like play these songs, and ultimately I just went to Jeff and I was like, look, I want I just like maybe this is like I don't think this is a Mae Shi record. Like I think this needs to be a new band, and like I think you're like an emeritus member, like you're the producer, you're the
Yeah, you can be Brian Wilson. You can Brian Wilson it up,
Yeah. But like I like moving forward, like I think like I wanna be in charge, and he was like if you do this, you got to find a way to tie it to the Mae Shi, because he's like, I've been in all these other bands since the Mae Shi, and it's like so hard to get people interested in your band. He's like, I really think it should be a Mae Shi record, but if it's not going to be, you gotta like tie it to the band somehow. So we kind of went back and I think maybe it was Dan that came up with the idea of naming it after the last
record, the most popular record. And that I thought that was such a cool and interesting move, because it honors the legacy of what happened before while also being a banner for other things to happen that are not necessarily explicitly and forever tied to that thing.
That's true. But I would recommend, if you're picking a name, you should pick a band name that has one pronunciation that you're not embarrassed to say out loud.
Yeah, well, ask Chick about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's got to be. I'm sure that like breaks all kinds of internet stuff too, right? Like they probably like throw that name into Apple Music and every.
Well, and it was supposed to originally be like pow, 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 bang, 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 any 3 repeated syllables. Like,
totally.
That's not going to work, man. When you start recording music, that's not going to work at all.
Yeah.
And so it just became, it's Chick, represented this. Okay, well, cool. To me, it's always been Hell Yeah, which I think is great. But, I mean,
it's interesting, like, we started like doing like polls on Instagram, right? And and what we've learned is like, if you're from California, that's what you say. You say,
yeah, right, of course.
If you're from England, you say Hilly H, which is very cool.
Okay.
I mean, the original idea
Hilly
we had, I was like, it was
a charming girl from down the way, Hilly H. Yeah.
It was a record about like, the biblical end of the world or whatever. So it was like hallelujah without the vowels, but you could also say, hell yeah. That was the original idea. But I guess if I'm being honest, I say hell yeah most of the time too.
Yeah.
My daughter pronounces it Goliath with a TH, and she insists that that's the proper pronunciation.
Awesome. Well, the nice thing is it's easy to search.
It is. That is, I mean, that's a huge benefit. Benefit. Although it bums me out because now it's like I know exactly what's on the like.
Oh yeah,
I do that better not to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, and there are things that, again, if you're not thinking about, I'm making this a band that will play shows, and like there's certain things you don't think about. I wouldn't have named it a sentence-long band name if I ever thought there was going to be a show, let alone like a lifetime of touring. I mean, that will be my cross to bear for forever, I guess.
Yeah,
changing at this point.
Yeah, like anytime your band is like playing on a car, infotainment center. It's probably just Conan, Neutron, and blank,
and then it just cuts off. Yeah, and it's
well, you got your name in there. That's the most. At least you didn't call it the Secret Friends and Conan Neutron. That would have been a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, and what's funny is that's the thing that I didn't really want to do. I did for myself, and it's not about me. But like, that was the last thing I want to do. But I've been kind of controversialized at the time. It's like, I'll just lean into it. And if I had to do it over again, I would either call it Neutron Friends or probably just be under my name. Which is what most people say anyway, despite what I want. I'm like,
the reason why I like Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends is it's like you could have like 5 variations on that, right? I mean, it's like the way you've got Tom Petty, but you've got Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and with a Tom Petty record, you get something that's a little different. Like you still have like Ben Montench playing keyboards or whatever, but like there's a little more authorial, control by Tom Petty. So you could like. Or like, you could put out a Conan Neutron record.
I absolutely, and originally my idea with Secret Friends was going to be a different band every record.
I mean,
and it just worked out too well. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep doing this. This is badass.
I guess the OCs did that for like
Yeah,
15
long
years,
time,
right? And
Yeah,
now
yeah.
they're just like, we've messed with like, this is too much of an SEO nightmare. We gotta just
Yeah, we're just gonna keep it under this one thing. Yeah, like we're gonna keep what we got. Well, but it's funny to think about. These are things you don't think about. I mean, if you actually are, you joked about the Mae Shi being sort of like you taking certain things from like the boy band world and whatnot. But if you actually were putting together this, there would be like meetings about this. There would be like long
That's right.
meetings and
That's right.
like papers written up about,
do some market research, have this tested.
we're gonna see what tests best with our key demographics. No, but I'm not. It's funny, but I'm not kidding. Like there would be, and these are things that's like, oh yeah, that just kind of came. Again, you almost calling it, a Mae Shi record, and it's like no, but then this is. I feel like this is the best of both worlds, where it gets to be its own thing, but it does honor that tradition.
I mean, I think the biggest plus is like we can actually play shows and stuff. Because if it was just a Mae Shi record, then it would come out. And I think I talked to Jeff about this. I was like, Jeff, we're trying to parent trap the Mae Shi. We're trying to like put out this record, and then like everyone is going to be like, oh, I just have to get back together. It's like that's not very realistic. Like the band's probably not going to get back together.
The parent trap, amazing, great. That's great, by the way.
And so it's like those are like. Those guys are like some of my favorite people in the world, but it's like, it's nice to like look forward rather than look back, right?
And it's nice to have, when someone's involved with something, it's nice to have everybody, on the same page and levels of excitement to it, rather than being like recalcitrant or hesitant or in some way. Right?
That was a really hard part of, it's like I was making like, demo after demo, like just like probably like 40 songs, and I was throwing them in a Dropbox and then like just like not hearing anything. It's almost worse than like, hey, I don't like this or whatever. When you don't hear anything, or when someone's like, it's pretty cool. It's like, thanks a lot, asshole. Like that gets us nowhere.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, yeah, and that's that's a lonely place, and that's something where, that's.
How does it work for Secret Friends? Like, what's the writing process?
Oh God, nobody listens to anything until they have to, until it's like right before time to record. Sometimes like 20 minutes beforehand,
so
night
like
before or something.
So like you're writing not just the lyrics.
I make
but the bass lines,
drums, like in some cases like overdub ideas, and it doesn't always like end up being like that. In fact, quite often it doesn't. Sometimes like the tempo will change and like, oh, that's cooler. That's awesome.
Totally.
And sometimes it's, I could play you the demo and it's like, that's almost the same, just, more poorly recorded and obviously one dude doing all this stuff. But I had to be that way because it was something where I quickly realized like, oh, no, this is my thing. And everyone's involved in it and everyone's doing their best to like fulfill the vision. But whether I intended to be or not, like this is kind of like what happens is that like if I get really specific, hey, what do you think about at minute 30 this does this, and I think there could be a more interesting transition or something, then maybe I can pull the mule down to the river to get an answer. But for the most part, and then there's certain things every once in a while to be like, oh, that just doesn't work, where it's like, oh, this is a cool idea but that just doesn't work. And that's interesting as well, because that's also the making records versus making demos thing. And it's very rarely are the songs played live first, very rarely. And I just have to be okay with like, that's the process, that's this freaking weird flying circus that I'm part of, right? It's okay, well, turns out I like these records a lot, and sometimes it's like I listen to the demo for Quid Pro Quo and Art of Murder, and it's like, this is painfully slow. Like, what was I thinking? Was it like, let's say like Godflesh or something? Like, why is this slow? And then there's ones where it's like, I'll listen to it like, oh, this sounds like it. Again, a crappier demo version of the song, where it's like, even the guitar leads are like, oh, that's pretty much how that goes. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think on our record, Uruburu, which is also a palindrome, just like
right, more palindromes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are songs that are very similar to the demos that I made, but then there's songs that changed a huge amount when Jeff worked on them. And then another thing Jeff did was just like, like, I mean, he's a great engineer, but he can also do what's the name? Where he can do like the Rick Rubin thing.
The production sort of
where he's like sitting
arrangements, and
he's like listening. Well, not even that. Just like he's listening to the demo for the first time, and he's like, and he turns to me and he's like, "What's this song about?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, this song is about like, okay, I'm like spinning, trying to like, and I just like, throw out a bunch of words, but it was like, or like, very Socratic, like asking these sort of open-ended questions, and then like, it's sometimes putting it on me to figure it out, but like asking the right question,
and which engages that more, different part of the brain than like the more mechanical, logistical part of the brain. Yeah, too. And there's worth that creativity, which reminds me, by the way. We get so busy jibba-jawing about this, that, and the other, that let's go through the songs on the record. And you can tell me a little bit about each one, where the song title came from, what color was evoked from it, the recording process, anything that springs to mind, as you gave him some context to it, right? So I'll throw it up on the screen here.
Yeah,
so
I was trying to...
Yeah, let me put it over. So we'll start, and then first of all, palindromic name, Uruburu, like Ouroboros, right? Is
Oh, you're ahead of yeah. I'm not going to comment either way, but that's some good analysis there.
That's what I do here. What I do. So tell me about the song. Tell me about the first song, Uruburu.
I like writing a first song is the hardest thing, right? Like
man.
With Hell Yeah the record, we had all these awesome songs, but we didn't have a first song. And then we Brad was just playing different like snippets that he had worked on his computer, and he played like the intro keyboard part to that. And I was like, that's it. That's going to be the first song. And we wrote it all around just this cool sort of arpeggiated synth riff.
Yeah.
That he put together. And that song ended up being like the thesis of that album, right? Like it's like Lamb and Lion, the lamb's gone missing and the lion's sleeping peacefully. Like, Christianity is off the rails. We're in a bad place. And so I was basically like, in making this record, it's like, let's do the Hell Yeah formula, right? So we need like a first song that's like the intro song, it's like, it's got a cool riff, and it's got like the theme of the record, which is, about like cycles and stuff like that. So
you're doing a level set in a way, right? It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's your kind
was Tommy one of the records that you listened to as a kid?
The Who was definitely, but it's funny because I was into The Who when I was little, and then I was like, I don't like The Who. I don't remember why I got this idea in my head that I didn't like The Who for like years. And then I started listening to them again in my mid-20s. I was like, wow, The Who was awesome. What was my problem?
Well, I understand that. Like, when you, in your indoctrination period, you have to kind of turn your back on
certain things, yeah.
Like, my favorite band when I was like 12 was The Doors, like more than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you go discover, Shellac and, whoever, and that stuff doesn't seem as cool, but then you bring it all back together.
Yeah, when your favorite band is Sonic Youth, like somehow The Doors don't seem quite as rebellious,
Totally.
But then also you can go back and be like, all right, Jim Morrison may be kind of an ass, but these are, this is a pretty good song, or it's pretty amazing how we did this without bass. Like, listen, he's doing the keyboard, like it's so cool,
Yeah, but this record isn't like, it's not a concept record the way Tommy is, but I love the way like Tommy has like, and starts with an overture, right? Like it's like
and
a bunch of the ideas that come back. And another thing we like listen to all the time was like Jesus Christ Superstar, that album.
Oh yeah, sure.
And just like, so I guess it's just like the hey, welcome to the album song, sort of. Yeah, here's the thesis.
It's funny you mention that, because I've done 3 concept records now, and I don't think I've ever done that, which is like, oh yeah, that's kind of like a key thing to a concept record. So, whoops, my bad.
Now you can do something new on the next one. Right?
Well, exactly. There you go. Put it in the tool belt. So that's Uruburu. Flex It Tagger is the second song.
So Flex It is that's a song that's like from 2008. That
yeah. So I love this that you had some songs that were just around from back in the day, right?
Yeah. So this is like a Mae Shi song that like sounded totally different. Hold on a second. I'm gonna see if I can find it. No, that's too much work. It sounded totally different, but like, so John Gray, like while I was in law school, he's like, "Hey, do you want to take a shot at writing lyrics for this?" And like, it was like I was like 2 years out of the band, and I was like, "Oh my god, of course, pretend to be a rocker. Like, sure, that sounds great." So I wrote lyrics for it and wrote like a melody for it, and then it just like sat for the longest time. And so, like through this whole process, like that was the one song that was like, okay, we're gonna have Flex It on the record. Like at least we got one good song. So that was like that's kind of where everything kind of
it's like the nucleus, right? Everything else but the atom's gonna work with the nucleus. Yeah, that's interesting because
it doesn't to everything.
It doesn't feel like an old. It doesn't feel like out of place or like it's an old song or anything at all. Like I feel like it's pretty nicely.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's a trip though that it's like so old and it's like it's just so funny that there's like lines in it like text the president, which is like that was written during the Obama administration, right? That was like text your bro the president, and now we've got this fucking president that won't stop like tweeting and it's like it's funny how much things have changed But yeah, that's kind of the story of that song.
Supercomputers won't decode our secret plans in the era of AI.
That is, but that's the song that grounds us in the real world. Like it's about like punks, like kind of rebelling, in a sort of maybe Pollyannish way. It's like very inspired by like the crowds at like Pear Space and Il Crowd, like the crazy. Remember when Sparks, the drink. The alcoholic,
alcohol plus caffeine drink. Yeah.
It's like these crowds that were like just so amped and so crazy. So it's like our ode to those crazy ass crowds.
Yeah, that they had to ban. Isn't it crazy that like of all the things, I almost when he who shall not be named was trying to get people to talk about like literally anything other than Epstein. I was like, what's he going to do? Unban Sparks? And I almost like, would he know to do that? Like, I don't think he would know to do that, but.
There's this guy, Brandon Perry, who was a DJ at KXLU, and now he runs a record store in Brooklyn. But he still has a stash of Sparks. Dude. And like every year he's on his birthday,
like aging
he's
like
having
champagne.
another one. Yeah, exactly. He just I get it.
08 vintage. Yeah, bass player for Mountain Vicious had an entire. He like when he heard it was a band, he bought up like cases and had an entire refrigerator that he had set aside for them.
It was pretty yummy stuff. I don't drink anymore, but I shouldn't have good memories of that stuff, but I kind of do.
It's shocking that there hasn't been something to like take that place.
There was Four Loko for a while, right? Which is kind of the same, but then I think that got banned too. Like I think basically like every 4 or 5 years, someone tries this,
and they're like, "No, you can't."
And it gets banned.
It's too much.
Someone dies. Yeah.
Somebody gets like just exactly. There's an accident of some kind that makes the news or something. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so that's in summary, alcohol plus caffeine, everybody. So Evolver is the third song. Tell me about that one.
So Evolver is the Refusal of the Call song in the song cycle. And it's like, I don't know where it came from, but like the Mae Shi would like sometimes do these songs that were kind of like almost like love songs or like kind of lusty songs, but they were always like a little off. Like Ezra wrote on Terrorbird there's a song called Megamouth 2 that was like it's like a love song about a prehistoric shark, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
you know,
forgot
I got
about
a
that.
date that's built just like a spaceship. Like it's like this kind of gross, like lusty song about a a prehistoric shark. And so I guess this is our attempt to like write a love song, but it's like I think it's about like two monsters. So, but it's like I don't know. I'm kind of proud of this one because it's like it's not I don't think it's too arch. Like I think there's like some honest like feelings in there. Like there's some, you know, something. It's like you can say you're not going to make love songs because there's too many love songs, but it's also because you're scared to write love songs, kind of, right? Like maybe that's
Well, nobody
part of
wants
it.
to be like hacky or like write a bad one. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, look at Sparks. I can't believe that you would fall for all the crap in this song. Amazing, and that's on their like what 50th record or something. And it's like that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, there's ways to do it for sure. That one's got a good. That's the one that's the moment when the crowds get nervous and your phone drops service, right? That's a good
Yeah.
one. I like that one a lot. I was like, oh,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, I mean,
good.
like this was like we were talking about like looking at like old records growing up, and it was a lot of that rock stuff for me. But like my dad also had like every Bob Dylan record and like, you know, Joni Mitchell records and stuff. And like I think this was the record where we like, or where I like got really into like lyrics, you know, and so
Yeah.
try to like up our game on lyrics. So yeah, I'm proud of this one. It's a cool one.
In between.
So in between is basically just the crossing the threshold song. It's like it's just there to get you into the spirit world.
Is that why it's parens?
Maybe kind of.
Okay, all right.
Looks like there's a few songs who are
there's a
in
few
parens there.
Paren songs, yeah.
But also it's like
Well, that's what I mean. That is I can see this is the adventure repeatedly said no to, right? That's that one. So it's like okay, that's
you totally did your homework, Conan. I'm very impressed.
I listen. First of all, I like the music. That's why you're here. But yeah, I listen to things the way I wish everyone did.
Yeah, yeah. So this song was like, and I think another thing is like we're working on these songs, and Jeff's like, these just aren't crazy enough to be Mae Shi songs. It's like, okay, I'll give you something that's crazy, and so you know,
right.
two drummers playing at the same time.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's wild sounding.
Crazy dive bomb guitar stuff and everything. So changing in tempo, like Mae Shi did a lot of that sort of like weird like honky tonk sort of guitar stuff, you know, like sort of very sort of Joe Perry inspired. So there's some of that there. We never like or this band kind of did that too. Skull Control, like the Monarchid, like those
Oh
were,
yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely. I thought I was going to ask you if this is a Skull Control shirt, but I was like, we're going to go
it
far
is
enough.
it is a Skull Control, and it's like you can buy this now in 2025
Wow, what a time
on
to be alive.
shirtkiller.com.
That's amazing.
And they've got it's like it's so awesome being in your 40s, right? Like you can buy whatever you want if you get
I had to make a
$25.
scratch acid T-shirt in high school in my screen printing class, and it was like one of those things where I was like, I did that, and then I stopped wearing it because I worked in Berkeley, and people like old hippies would be like, "Yeah, man, scratch acid." I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
I'm like, no, it's a band, stupid. And then whatever. That's a sad story about a shirt I made, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the cool one that Kurt Cobain had. How would I have done that? I lived in Modesto, for Christ's sake.
Not to go off on a tangent, but so I'm going to be in Modesto.
I'm so sorry.
On Saturday. Well,
okay, cool.
It's to see a concert that I'm super excited about.
Really?
With my family.
Okay.
It's to see Weird Al Yankovic for the first time.
No way. That rules.
Yeah.
Okay. That's as someone whose musical tastes were very much shaped by Dr. Demento and a lot of those early Weird Al stuff. That's respect.
It's like it's interesting because like if someone asks you who your favorite band was growing up, you're gonna say like or for me, you know, I'll be like the Doors.
Yeah.
But way before that, it was Weird Al, right?
Oh, yeah,
like,
100%, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
You have any tips on navigating Modesto? I don't think I've ever been there before.
Yeah, it's mostly a grid. It's not that hard to figure out. Like there's like part of it's like a grid, but kind of slanted. It's there's not much. The Modesto, if you're gonna be hanging out at all, the McHenry Mansion's kind of cool. Like it's a pretty old. It's a very old building for the West Coast, so that's kind of interesting. Does
your dad still live there?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's still like home base, sort of.
I mean, I have to go there, you know, certain times here. But I'm also, for me, it was leaving that town was like a prison break. You know what I mean? Like it was. I feel like being expelled like a virus more than anything else. Some people like it though, and some people stayed. You know, and good for
How
them.
far is it from like the bay? Like, it's like
an hour
90
and a half.
minutes, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half away and a world apart. Is what I used to say.
Well, it's like
there are cool things in Modesto, and you know, for the California, you can live somewhat cheaply. You know, so sure. Not for me though.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff and I grew up, and Katie, we grew up in LA, right? But it was like in Sunland. It's kind of it's like an hour from, you know, what you'd call LA. So it's like
I know it well
get
because Toshi Studios in Sun Valley, and that's where I record the lion's share of my records for.
Oh,
since
okay.
the started.
You totally do.
Yeah, so I know Sunland very well. I think you know what? I was just gonna like dox somebody that's a mutual friend. I was like, I think so and so, and I was like, you know what? Let's not say
everyone
that
knows Randy lives there. Is that who you're talking about?
That's one of them. Yeah, that's one of them. I know of a couple others too, but they don't need. Yeah, I guess Randy's pretty upfront about it. But all right, that has nothing to do with anything. Let's get back to your record here. So Yellow Brick Wall, right? Obviously, yellow brick road, yellow brick wall. Funny.
Yeah, I mean, this is so weird. So this song was like, I love the music that they play at CVS's, like unironically, like when I'm in a CVS, if they play like Natasha Bedingfield or like Vanessa Carlton, you know, that like I seriously like that music, and like the song that I love the most is the Annie Lennox song "Walking on Broken Glass." Do you know that one?
Yeah, I do.
It's and so this was like a what do they call it? You know, writing sideways from that song, basically.
Okay.
Like,
sure.
So.
Wow. Okay. That is not what I would have thought of, but I mean, I don't know what I would have thought of, but.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like I've heard Deerhoof say, you know, Greg from Deerhoof say like, oh yeah, this song started out like we were trying to make this like, you know, we heard a song on, you know, American Idol and we tried to make it, you know, yeah, we heard a song that we really liked that was by Maroon 5, and so we tried to make it, and it's like it's all like, you know, it turns into a Deerhoof song. So I guess this is a song that has like very prosaic, you know, roots, but kind of went in an interesting direction. I'm super proud of that one too. That's awesome. That's a good song.
That's the
You
one.
should like it.
That's the one. Chrome colored landscape of NPCs at the end, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And I sing it too, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, that's as a former RPG nerd, I always appreciate that. That's one of the reasons when you guys first started off in Thaco was, you know, I was like, I know that reference. I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, I mean, we like other worlds, right? Like whether it's like video game worlds or like D&D worlds or whatever. It's like our drummer James is super into Magic the Gathering. Like, you know, it's like let's just be proud of all that stuff. So, but yeah.
So Yellow Brick Wall followed up with Goodbye Yellow Brick Wall.
Yeah, so that's just like further down the road into the abyss, sort of, you know. Yeah, I think it's kind of inspired by like being in a band, you know, like the Home Sweet Home, Motley Crue, you know, the songs about getting on the road.
Yeah,
I'm really into like
Turn the
writing
page.
songs that are a category of songs. You know, there's there's the Home Sweet Home songs. So this is like kind of that, I guess. But it's just a short, weird little interstitial, you know. So
yeah, and that's a nice thing to be. Also good. Elton John. Yeah, Elton John, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Elton John. Play on words, which we had a whole Elton John block that we listened to going through Idaho. That was actually very enjoyable. Where it was like, oh yeah, I can't forget how many of these songs are like pretty badass. Like, I don't know if like it's weird to me that the kids have like completely rehabbed Phil Collins, but don't like seem to know anything about Elton John. It's like kind of weird to me. It's like, okay, I guess
they'll get to him. I mean, they're just getting to Billy Joel right now, right? Like,
right, I think so. Like, well, there's that. I haven't seen it, but there's a documentary. I'll probably watch it.
You should.
I mean, I'll watch a musical documentary if it's good on like anything.
Me too. I'll watch any like musical documentary, basically.
And sometimes they're doing bands where like, wow, that documentary was amazing. I wish I liked the band's music more.
Yeah.
But it's still good. It's a good experience, right?
And these ones that are like the official, you know, where you've got like the participation from the artist, they're always kind of like revealing because like, you know, how they want to be perceived, right? You know, or like the things
to the detriment of the story. So look at the Big Star one, right? It's like,
oh, I didn't watch that one. Oh, I mean, I did. What's the? Is
well,
it
it's good, but it's like. So we're just not going to address his sexuality at all? We're just not ever going to bring it up, huh? Okay. Well, and of course not because the family's religious. The family didn't want it. So there you go. But otherwise, great. Other than that one pretty glaring omission. It was like, okay. What are you going to do? Moving on. Trapped in the Song.
Yeah, this one's about like people I know that are like trapped in sort of cycles, you know, like I was when I was writing it, my father-in-law was dying, and he was a guy who's like very accomplished, like wrote books, was like an accomplished lawyer, and then kind of just became a hoarder and I just someone that like basically didn't have any relationship with his family for like the last 5 years of his life because he was so like just haunted, like constantly making work for himself that he'd have to like kind of take care of or something, you know. You have anyone like that in your life that's like, hey, you want to hang out? And it's like, oh no, I've got so much going on. And it's like,
and you look at what they have going on and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that's like, I feel like maybe with the pandemic that's gotten like worse than it's ever been before. But do
you think some of it has to do with like mindset? Just like if people feel anxious or tense or whatever, and things seem like insurmountable from a larger perspective, that gets internalized. And I think for a lot of people, it's become really, really, really hard to like plan anything in advance. Particularly for a lot of. I think it's cool how you do this podcast where you're like, it's 5 o'clock or it's 7 p.m. It's the same time.
It's like Jeff told me about that before. He's like, don't ask him to try to change the time. It's like that's when it is.
I do get grumpy about that sometimes. Where
but
I
like, think
can we do like 11 o'clock on a Wednesday? No,
that's what you have to do to like, it's like you gotta find a way to like schedule things and push things forward and like So yeah, that's the dying song, sort of the being like sort of hopeless in the spirit world song in this fake story.
I think it's evocative that I know there are good times still coming. I know there are good times long gone. I think that's. And thinking towards like backwards, people that are, I guess the best example would be like Glory Days, like Bruce Springsteen, kind of like people that are always like backwards facing, stuff like that. So there's a little, and I keep saying like someone's gonna write like the Glory Days for, Gen X or millennials or whatever, and I'm gonna be really mad that's not me.
You should, right? Because like that's another category. I mean, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, go ahead. I've been
race.
talking about it for like 15 years and I haven't done it yet. So,
because that's what scenes from an Italian restaurant is too. Like that, like Billy Joel beat Bruce Springsteen to it by like
that's right,
7-8 years or something. But yeah, that's kind of I think that's kind of one of the senses I wanted to get across with that song.
No, and it comes across, and I like the these aren't the good times. That distinction, because that makes you think about how many songs are trying to tell you that like this is the best time ever. Celebrate these good times. Like, well, these are definitely not the good times. Right now. I was like, oh, that's like a very Sparksian sort of turnaround of the thing you expect to hear, right?
Yeah. So on an earlier version,
thank you.
An earlier version of this record had it was like 70 minutes long, and it was like I was like, Jeff, I want the record to be like a bad acid trip where it like melts in the middle and like you lose your mind and then you kind of come out of it. It's this like cathartic thing. And we put it together and we played it. We like let people listen to it and they were like, that's too many songs. That's too much for a band coming back from, 15-year hiatus. So this is what's left of the sort of bad acid trip is the kind of this song and the next two songs.
Well, and it's, yeah, man. I mean, everyone's attention span has been, whittled away by short form video content delivery.
Yeah, well, records are shorter now, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I didn't catch that, but like records are now 30 minutes instead of like 45 minutes, right?
I mean, more often than not, and it's kind of notable when they're not. And I'd be lying if I said that it's not something that I think about too when I do my own sequencing, right? Like I feel like I kind of pushed it on this last one. Well, that's a good question because there's 12 songs on it. Well, it's enough to fit on single vinyl, so. But it's barely does. So I think it's like 42 minutes or something.
Okay.
But
still your standard.
But that's like on the longer end. And the last full length before that, Dark Passengers, specifically the point was this is going to be as long as it needs to. But I think I think the first two were like 34, maybe something along those lines. And that tends to be like where I feel most comfortable if it's not making a point.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 46 was your last one, but Protons and Electrons 36. Yeah, those OCs records are all like 30 minutes long.
That seems to be people's sweet spot, man. That seems to be like where people.
The next Hell Yeah record will be like. I have a new crazy Google document for like the next record.
Fantastic! I love to hear
short, like under 34 minutes. So
that's something. Mentioning Protons and Electrons, one of the conceits for that was that they all had to be on vinyl singles, 7 inches. So it had to fit on the side of a 7-inch. So you didn't have the ability to go too long, right? They had whatever they do, whatever type of song it is, that's to basically get in and get out. And that was actually really cool as a writing exercise and recording exercise to have that kind of 5 obstructions, Lars von Trier kind of thing of like, it has to fit in here.
Dogma 95.
Dogma 90. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. Oh, yeah. That was my version of Dogma 95.
No, I get it. It's good to have like limitations like that for sure.
And honestly, I think it made me a better songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that stuff is like some of my favorite stuff this band's ever done. So take it that what you will. But again, if you're trying, so I like the fact that you're thinking about like having like, okay, in the point of the record, it does this other thing. Right, and then like, okay, so doing a more abbreviated version of that. Which let's go on to failed testy.
Failed testy. So, like that. This is the one song that like didn't start with me. It was like, after I met up with Ezra, I told him like I wanted to do this, and he's like, yeah, that sounds. I might be interested. I sent him an email. I was like, here's some of the songs I'm working on. And then like 2 hours later, he's like, hey, I came up with a song for you. And it was this failed testy one. It was just like, it had all these notes. It's like, this should, the mouse sound should be drums. And he had like all this stuff that he wanted to happen with it. But but he kind of sketched out this weirdo song, and then Jeff kind of fleshed it out into this weird kind of noise, But yeah, it's just like supposed to be the sort of trough of the album, sort of.
It's a breaker. It's kind of a break. It's like it changes.
It's not on the vinyl. We had to cut it for things to fit.
Oh, man, that's real. That's what I'm saying, man. That'll trim things out full on. I know people. I'm not gonna name them, but I know people that like cut out a minute of a song because it wouldn't fit on vinyl otherwise.
Oh, that's
the record
cool.
label was like, we're not doing double vinyl.
Yeah.
So they just cut out a whole minute of the song. I was like, we didn't need that anyway. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, crazy. Okay, so SOS.
So this is sort of like, meeting sort of a extremely negative force and being sort of tempted. It's sort of like kind of Wyndham Earl vibes,
Ooh, if you're, I do know. Yes, I know very well.
And this was one where like I did the demo and I sent it to Ezra and he's like, "Oh, I'll sing this one," and I was like, and then the rap at the end is like something that he added, like he wrote some lyrics and everything. He recorded everything in like 2 hours. It was really cool. But yeah, this is, just like nice, moody, weirdo song about I guess a cool thing about this song is it has Morse code messages in it.
Oh.
So we're like the pop version of Tool. Like there's another song on this record that has machine code, messages, but this one has Morse code in it, so that's kind of cool.
It is funny that the amount of rapping I expected on this record was 0.
Well, but there's
maybe that's a me problem though.
There's a lot of rapping on the early. There's rapping on Terrorbird, right?
I know. Yeah, I guess this is something that I don't think about with the band. And so I was like, oh yeah, but then I was like, oh, they do kind of do that, like something. Yeah. Like it's not out of character. It's not like a ska song.
It was weird to discover that like 20 years later. Like Jeff and I, looking at each other, being like, oh, we were a rap rock band. Like I didn't realize that, but that's Ezra's, Power to the Power or Mega Mouth or whatever. He's just fucking rapping, and that's what I guess
there's a fine line for sure.
I don't know. It surprises me every time, but it seemed appropriate. So yeah, so that's that. And with that ends side 1 of the album. If you have it on vinyl, you have to flip it over.
And we hitting up with that Killer on the Edges. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So this is like the prison break song. This is the breaking out of the spirit world, breaking out. Like, I think the last 2 songs are kind of about like, there's like a stasis to them, like you're stuck. And so this is the breakout. It's kind of, I guess, kind of inspired by Andor season 1.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. No, I get it.
But it's like, if we're trying to go through the journey, like we're coming back.
Yeah, nobody's watching the checkpoint, the phone taps, all that. Yeah. Sure.
So this is the, breaking free and that, and, kind of a short other sort of interstitial song that sets us up for Guess Who's Back from the Spirit World, which is...
Guess Who's Back from the Spirit World.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Because, we like conventions. We like rock and roll conventions, right?
Yeah, sure.
Things in parentheses, all that.
I love it so much, and I forget to do it regularly, and I always kind of kick myself for that. But yeah, it's great.
I feel like ever since like Replicator had good song titles too, right? Like
yeah, we had some good Paren song titles also. Yeah, I can't think of a single one right now, but I know we did. But also like. Do the streaming aggregators, they don't like some punctuation. because and I'll tell you how I learned this.
Uh-huh.
On Protons and Electrons, we had a song called Recant, but it was supposed to be stylized as all caps and at least 3 exclamation points.
Uh-huh.
Nope.
I know
The streaming aggregators are like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, when I tried to put in the lyrics into like Apple Music for SOS,
Yeah.
it rejected them because it was like, no, this is too many capital letters. And it's like, but it's the chorus is SOS. It's like, what am I supposed to do? So I think what I had to do is like spell it out, like ESSOHESS. Oh, wow. So it's so funny how we are at the whim of these.
Yeah.
Like
of some like just mysterious algorithm programmed by nobody that gives you an expected output that nobody was looking for. God, pound it. That's a bummer, man. I mean, it's the world we live in, but it's a bummer.
But this is a power pop song basically. Like that's like a kind of music that Jeff and I always loved. You know, I love Red Cross. I love like Cheap Trick, and so just
some slowism there too.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes through, gets over. Next song, Black Rainbows.
Black Rainbows. We got Ezra to sing it.
Can I tell you, by the way, favorite song on the record?
Okay, that's nice to hear. It's nice to hear.
I mean, I think it's a really solid record, but this is the one I come back to the most, I would say.
Yeah, I'm super proud of this. Like the idea here was like we're talking about like categories of songs. This was like this is like a 2 Tickets to Paradise type song. Like Hold My Hand, like,
yeah, totally.
Fantastic Voyage. Like, can we do that in sort of a cool, interesting new way? And so
you have that thing. There's a thing on the chorus too, where it's like first part of the phrase add, and the next part of the phrase adds again. Like
pitch black rain, pitch black rainbows. Yeah.
Like there's.
I like it when
there's
people
a word.
do
There's
that.
a word for that.
Uh-huh.
And I really like it, and I don't remember what the word is, but there's a word for that, and I think it's well deployed here. I think it makes for an interesting chorus.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I think I'm super proud of it too. It's a fun song.
And just like We're Not Gonna Die Tonight is a hell of a first kind of opening statement for something. I remember you guys played this. I remember you played this when I signed Oakland too.
Yeah, I think we played it every single time we don't have that many songs, Conan, so we have to play the good ones when we have a show.
It was a standout then too, and I know the record had been out, but I didn't really listen to it until I got back for whatever reason. I don't know why. Just that's how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's Ezra singing on that.
That's Ezra singing.
Nice. Very cool.
And then Endless High Five is like, we're trying to like kind of wrap up the record at this point. We're trying to like learn some lessons and stuff. And I don't know, like the concept of an endless high five, like, when you're in school, they talk about cones and like, what's the sound of one hand clapping? And that never really worked for me. But like
the sound of a high five,
the idea of an endless high five just kind of is like just a sort of a spacey way to get myself out of my head, I guess. Just thinking about like, and it's like I feel like if the Mae Shi was one thing, like throughout its 8-year existence, we were like Californian, right? We were like we really bought
absolutely
into the California myth.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I love high fives, man. They're
high fives
cool.
are great.
It's like, the cool thing with this song is like that we had 2 bands that we would frequently go on tour with. Rapid and
Horsepower. Yeah.
And Gay Big and Kid Static.
Yes. Yeah.
And both of them had like long since broken up, but like, I like reached out to them, and I reached out to Mike Anderson, who's also in Brace Bannon, the singer of Rapider, and I was like,
right,
hey, what do you think? And he's like, I don't make music at all anymore. I'm actually kind of bitter. I don't feel good about it. But if it's for you, I'll totally do it. And like we ended up getting that band back together, and so it's kind of cool. Like, it was fun to like, even if our band, you know, Parent Trap didn't work, we did get to Parent Trap like 2 other bands, right?
A completely different band got Parent Trapped in the course of making this record.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it.
And then, I think Raptor's like talking about like playing shows or, you know,
that's
recording
awesome.
and stuff. So that was really cool to bring them in and like, you know, have them like write whole parts of the song and everything. Felt really good.
Yeah, that's such an interesting band family. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that we haven't ever been able to use the FEAT period in a song title, right? That's kind of a newer thing. Like that's not, you don't see that on the back of a Led Zeppelin record, right? Like the blah blah featuring this
featuring
person
so
and
and
that
so
person.
on. Yeah.
Because now like every song on the radio is blah feet, you know, with blah, whatever,
featuring little whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
exactly.
It was fun to use like that new trope and have a feet song, you know.
I've done it, but I've never done it. I never, and like maybe I should.
Yeah, you should. It feels good. It feels like you it feels like you have a posse, right? You've got like you know.
Yeah, exactly. Featuring, you know, this one and that one. And I always just think about like Dr. Dre records and like Snoop Dogg and whatnot, where it's featuring so and so and this one.
Well, yeah, I mean there's a term, right? They call it like a posse cut when you've got like, you know, like Scenario by Tribe Called Quest or whatever. And so that was the original idea, is like, because we're all about like trying to like stealthily steal from hip hop, right? Like in ways that are like, you know, with Terror Bird was like designed to just have the sound of like a hip hop mixtape in terms of the flow. So it's like, let's do that.
Especially when you got into like the repetitions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, this is like a variation on the theme, which is
or
funny
you've got
it's
like
about repetition.
You've got a song Body followed by like another song called Body that's like a remix of the first one, you know. It's that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean I think this song is very cool too. I'm proud of it. I like most of the songs on the record, but I like that one.
It's good.
And then Dead Clade is like, we're like coming back into the circle. We're like, we are sort of coming back to where we're from. This is the second oldest song on the record. So right after the Mae Shi broke up, like Jeff and I got together to try to work on music, and there's a song called Tremors that he ended up taking, like, I wrote the lyrics for it, he wrote the music for it, and then it ended up being a Physical Forms song. It's on like the unreleased Physical Forms record. And then when I was like looking for, you know, music to be on this record, I was like, you know, I kind of dug it up and wrote more lyrics for it and everything, and
brought it out of hibernation.
You know, it's got like it does a thing that I've always wanted to do, where it like goes back to the riff in the first song. You know, like that's another nice like cliche. So I got to do that. And it's about like evolution and how we're all doomed.
Well, yeah, I mean, a clade is like a group of organisms with a common ancestor, right? I mean, that's it's not lost on me. I think the guy with an atom tattoo.
There's been like 5 or 6 like mass extinctions in the history of the world, right? Like we know about the dinosaurs, but before that, there's like 4 other ones where like every living thing was basically destroyed, and like all of the like there's like very different creatures that lived on the earth, and they all just, and we don't have any like, there's like the only way we know that they exist is like from like, you know, super circumstantial evidence and everything. So it's just like that's probably where we're going to be too. Like we're probably all just going to be goo, you know, fossils, I guess, but trying to be hopeful about it. Which leads to the last song.
Which is I'm glad you're alive. Which is, of course, is like the motto that the band that Mae Shi had.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it was like a sort of life ethos, if you will. Yeah, right.
This is like this might be the first song that's like inspired by a T-shirt, because it was like it was a shirt first. You know, it was a shirt that one of John's friends and coworkers like made for the band,
Mm-hmm.
and then ended up being like a really popular item. It's funny, like we just played shows in LA, and like people came wearing like their homemade "I'm Glad You're Alive" shirts, which is really
that's awesome.
kind of touching.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, this is like I was struggling, like trying to get my friends to like make this record with me, and it's like, okay, if I can't, if people don't want to play, like maybe I can tap into, let's find other ways to sort of borrow from the past, and so let's make a song that's, that the song that inspired by the T-shirt. So and this one, I sing the first verse and Jeff sings the second verse, and Ezra sings the third verse. So it's like, and it's just like, I mean, I guess this is another super cliche, like the "Don't Commit Suicide" song. Those, like,
I basically wrote a whole record about it. Yeah. I know. Well, yeah.
So,
but they have value, And
I kind of think they do. Like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, how full of yourself do you have to be to think like, I'm gonna write a song that's gonna like save a life? But like, you got to try, right? It's like we have all these friends around us that are suicidal. I mean, I know you've lost a whole lot of people in your life, right? And it's just like, it's tough, right? It's like,
it is.
So this is the, like, I wrote it about someone that I thought was gonna kill themselves, and they haven't. So that's good. They're still alive. So,
well, there's life, there's hope, even if it doesn't feel like it, So
yeah.
And this is a good, this is a good sentiment to close on.
Yeah,
close the record on.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, it's kind of a cliche, right? To do the in the 90s, this would be the unlisted track, right? This would be like you have to wait 14 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Skip past 99 tracks of silence. Yeah.
So.
Whatever it would be. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's here. I'll give you the album cover.
Check out that pretty thing.
Uruburu.
Shot at Albany Bulb.
Albany Bulb, one of my favorite Bay Area treasures.
So
just
great.
Like, if you know, you know, and otherwise,
so great.
What are you saying? Albany Bowl? No, that's a bowling alley, and that also exists.
That also exists.
But this is Albany Bulb, Bulb.
Bulb.
Big open source art project that somehow still manages to be there, which
it's still there. It's still awesome.
Blows my mind. In a good way. Compliment.
Totally.
It's an awesome record, man. I think it's an awesome record just if it was a brand new band that has no corollary with anything, but I think all the context helps a lot too, and it's cool to see you doing it again, and I love that there's live shows. What can folks expect? There's going to be more? I'm sorry, I'm just going to say hell yeah. I'm just going to continue saying hell yeah. Stuff coming up. The goal, like my personal goal is like 2 more records. Like within the next one a year, so we'll see how it goes. Okay.
Like we've already got like demos of LP
pull some
2.
Creedence stuff, Yeah, why not?
And I mean, we're just gonna play shows in California. Like how it's as hard as it's harder than it ever has been, right? Like to tour.
Oh, to tour for real? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's. Yeah, that's a whole podcast in and of itself, my guy. But yeah, I mean, it's still like, once you get to the Midwest, stuff's a lot closer together, so that helps. East Coast, it's especially close together. But, you got to go through North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas. It's hard, man, and it is a lifestyle decision. That's not something you can do quickly. And the fly-in thing is great, but. Congratulations. Who's making money on that? The airline. It's not generally cost effective unless you're doing it for the adventure of it all, which is a great reason to do it. But
yeah, I'm thinking maybe just make a bunch of records, and then when I retire in like 15 years, I'll be that like 65-year-old playing shows.
I mean,
You know?
there is a model for it. I don't necessarily want to say who it is, but there's a band I know that tours super hard that the lead person was a judge and like retired early and just decided like I'm gonna go tour with my band.
You'll have to drop that in the chat. You'll have to tell me about that offline.
And I think it's awesome because they're doing great too. And like
I'm super curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, because you think about it, like, you know, like, what does retirement look like? Oh, you know, it's being on the golf course or whatever. Well, it's like our generation, our people don't care about that. But just like, oh yeah, I just tour now, and it's like, right on.
I mean, and I think about like when I saw like The Fall for the first time, like Marky Smith was probably, I mean. Yeah. I don't know how old he is because he did. I mean, he could have been like 20
the same for like 40 years, didn't he? Yeah.
But like, you know,
and then he just died.
You mentioned No Means No. You mentioned like, you know,
did you see Dead Bob when they came through? Did you see Dead Bob when they came through? John Wright.
Who's Dead Bob?
John Wright from No Means No's new band.
Oh,
they're awesome. And they even like do No Means No songs in the set, but it's a trip because it's like a bigger band. It's like 6 people. We toured with them a little.
Which one is
like
John? The other one's
the
Rob,
drummer,
right?
The drummer. Yeah, Rob Wright he's out of the game. He's retired as in not playing music. But John Wright's making it like you should check out Dead Bob. Dead Bob's cool.
Okay. I think it'll make me sad because I guess I'm a big Rob fan because he's so amazing.
I completely agree, but I've seen them play, I think, 4 or 5 different No Means No songs, and it's not the same, but it is very badass.
Okay.
And basically everybody in Dead Bob is in another band that is Canada punk rock famous, but it's like just basically like a Legion of Superheroes, like Avengers kind of in a good way. And they're really good. And they're really good, but even if you don't care about No Means No, they put on one of the best live shows going. They're amazing. But
I didn't know about this. I'll look it up. But yeah, like there's room for elder statesmen. Like, you know.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And well, punk rock has now been allowed to age. You know?
But it's true. But even when we were kids, right? You were like looking at like all those records, those were all people that were like your dad's age, you know, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, so
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. All right, so if people should go get the record on Bandcamp, you got an Instagram account? Is there
Instagram account is HLLLYH_. Blue Sky is, I think it's just HLLLYH. So those are the 2 main ones.
I'll link them in the show notes, all the stuff I normally do.
Awesome.
So you can find them.
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity. This was super fun.
It's a blast, dude. It's a rad band. It's a great record. There is obviously a show's worth of background and nuance to talk about with it, and I think that's lovely. Yeah, that's why I have this.
So my parting request to you is you got to get the rest of the guys from Sloan to do episodes. So you need Jay, you need Andrew, like you could like Andrew Scott, the drummer, like you could get him, and then
he doesn't like doing shows. I don't want to tell.
I'm such a big
school,
fan
that
I've
tried.
I listened to the Sloan,
the
podcast
2 Chris Murphy.
Called,
the actual Sloan podcast. Yeah, no, it's great.
It's called Sloancast, but I did listen to 2 Chris Murphys too. But
well, that's what you find out. Like I was like, oh, you're way more of a punk rocker than I knew you were.
He's
Chris Murphy's
totally
awesome. I
punk
love
rocker.
Yeah.
It was a great interview.
I would like to have any and all people from Sloan on again, and I've even suggested them coming on as a band, and that's saying a lot because I don't like doing full bands because it's more work for me. Frankly.
Oh yeah,
but
and then the other person we talked about yesterday is Ian from Don Caballero, like a full on Don Cab episode would be super awesome.
I did one with Damon, and might as well.
I'm gonna go listen to it. I want to check it out. I'm really
equal
curious.
time rule. Get Ian to have his say. You know, no, it's fine. It's not acrimonious at all.
Don't they have a song called "So Were They in Some Sort of Fight"? Like, isn't that?
Oh no, that was A Minor Forest.
A Minor Forest.
Yeah,
you should have them on.
I've had Andy on, but it was a long time ago. It was a while ago. I don't But yeah. Anyway,
Good memory. Well, thanks.
Tim,
I
great
really appreciate
times. Love having you. Love talking to you. I'm sorry that it took so long to do this, but it turned out being the exact right timing, so that's good.
Yeah, that's
Last
awesome.
thing, can question, only thing I ever ask people. Choose to interpret it however you like, but why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? Because it feels really good to make stuff,
Nice.
and because I need money sometimes, depending on what the do is in that sentence.
Tim Byron, great having you, man.
Thanks a lot, Conan.
Till next time, brother.
Okay.
Take care. There he goes. Tim Byron. Hell yeah. The Mae Shi. Great bands. I don't know. Let's hear a song off of Uruburu. This is Black Rainbows. There we go. That's Black Rainbows off of Uruburu, off the excellent record by Hell Yeah. Hell Yeah, the band.bandcamp.com, spelled HLLLYH. Go get it now. They got vinyl. It's great. I need to pick up a copy myself. I know I haven't. You can get a digital copy of it, all that good stuff. I'd like to thank Tim Byron for being on the show. Obvious old friend, but doing good stuff. Always love to hear it. You have been listening to Conan's Protonic Reversal, and I thank you very much for listening to it. The show airs Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, streaming live YouTube and Twitch. Podcasted later everywhere, always free, no ads, no sponsors, no kidding. ProtonicVersal.com for that. But if you like the show and you want to get episodes sooner, $1 a month at Patreon.com/Protonic Reversal achieves that goal. And it helps support the show as well, so it's deeply appreciated. Thanks, folks, liking, subscribing to your platform of choice, sharing around. All that helps people discover the show. It's just a darn nice thing to do, really. So, yeah, deeply appreciated.
Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea.
Lots of cool stuff coming up. I think... God, do you think I would know? Blake Fleming of Dazzling Killman next week. And Keith Brammer of DeKreutzen coming up. And
50,000 watts of power.
Yeah, drummer for Yowie, Steve Von Till and Neurosis. Look, keep it tuned. Keep it tuned. Keep that browser or podcast app tuned to Protonic Reversal, please. If you please. Thank you. Please and thank you. Yeah, find us on all the social medias.
This microphone turns sound into electricity.
Stay safe out there.
Can you hear me now?
And
Out on Route 128, dark and lonely. I got my radio on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Welcome to my top 10. I'd like to thank our sponsor. But we haven't got a sponsor. Not if you were the last man on Earth. She was prepared to prove it. This one goes out to a special girl. But there is no special girl. It's the end of radio. The last announcer plays the last record. The last what? Leaves the transmitter. Circles the globe in search of a listener. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Is it really broadcasting if there's no one there to receive? radio. As we come to the close of our broadcast day, got my radio on. Can you hear me now? This is a test! If this had been a real emergency, hey, hey!